Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Ben Backus.
And I'm Kevin Paulin, and welcome to the Falling Up Podcast, where we have conversations about turning obstacles into opportunities. And on today's show, we have the pleasure of being joined by Mr. Deivone Tanksley, Sr.
Deivon's story speaks for itself. He has overcome so much to create so many wonderful things, not only for himself and his family, but also for the communities he serves. And I was fired up throughout this whole thing and truly locked in because I say it in the show, and I don't want to give too much away, but there really is very often where you see someone who has such clear vision and the ability to back that up and put it into action. Yeah. And it was just truly inspirational, and I left there thinking about things in my life that I could do better. Right. And that, the essence is why we started this show.
Yes. So without further ado, welcome to the Falling Up Podcast. Even so, this is our first time sitting down. I've been seeing you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I've been seeing you. Yeah. I came to that Styles P concert that time I was here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I've been, I've been admiring you, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Real talk,
appreciate
you know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, I've been here 03, and it's like a renaissance down here right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I got the city of New Britain is on fire.
A lot of things going on.
Yeah. And I'm really hoping other cities take that blueprint, because it's like the entrepreneurship, the spirit of that in New Britain is on fire.
Yes.
And I mean, clear as day, y'all.
We laying the blueprint.
Yeah.
We laying the blueprint.
Yeah.
We want the state to follow. Because it's not only about one town. It's about all of us. It's about moving as a unit, as a culture. So if we could lay the blueprint down for the next generation, I don't know if we rolling, but if we could lay the blueprint down for the next generation, we could be that generation that said, look what we left. Because our parents, we were born in the crack era. We were born when our parents were, the 80s, where it was rough, it was tough. So now we're in that new age where if we could build something different for the next generation, then when we're in our 50s, 60 years old, now we could be like, all right, they live in a better place now, So that's the vision and that's the goal. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Legacy, man.
What else is it to be proud of? Other than leaving that type of blueprint, that type of legacy, to touch the hearts of our young kids that's out here killing each other, man. Listen, we could really be proud grandfathers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
for
deep,
real.
man.
It is. Because that break the cycle. You know what I'm saying? That breaks the cycle
everything.
of everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's start from the top. Introduce yourself to our audience and tell me who you are, your role, and let's go back to the beginning where it all started.
Yes. Yeah. So Deivone Tanksley, Sr., born and raised right here in New Britain, Connecticut. I got a long history of ups, downs, love, pain. My journey has been deep. The first time I was incarcerated, I was 11 years old. Some people know, some people don't, but being taken away from your home and sent to juvenile detention at 11 years old does something to a young kid. Running around in the projects, getting into trouble, and then from that cycle, it was like a repeated cycle of 12 years old, 13, MYI, juvenile, it just kept going. Northern CI, to the age of 20, I'm like, where am I going with this? Am I going to follow the same, negative blueprint of my, uncles and my brothers and, people that we looked up to, or I'm going to break that cycle so my kids can see something different. Right. And that's when I had that awakening, and I was like, I got to go home and change. I got to think different. And mentally, I made that shift. Emotionally and mentally, I made that shift. And I was like, I got to stop. And I came home, and it was like a light switch, And I didn't see my first son till he was 2 years old, because I was incarcerated. I didn't see my second son till he was 1. Then I had 2 more others after that, and I was able to see them, born. But it's like, it was hurting me. And I needed something to change. And like you said, there wasn't no blueprint for us. There's no blueprint for us. It's out there somewhere, but the resources for us, being our culture, us black and brown, we don't have it. We don't have the mentors just coming around the corner like, listen, this is the way you go.
Right.
This is what you need to do. Our dads are not in the house, you know. We raised by our mothers. Like, it's like we got to bump into an opportunity or a direction. So when I sat back and realized, like, this has to change. Or if not, my son is going to be 11 years old in detention, and that cycle is going to keep going. That's when I was like, I got to come home and do something different.
Do you remember what that event was that sparked that kind of change in mentality?
I do. I was asked that one time out of this whole journey, only one person asked me that. And it's funny because when he asked me, I didn't know. But when he asked me, it hit me, and I was like, I know what it was. I felt it wasn't only for, it was crazy because you see how I mentioned my kid, right? Yeah. But what it was is, it was my son, it was my kids. I said, it was 3 episodes. The first one was, I can't let my kids follow this direction. The other one was, I started thinking about people. I started thinking about like my friends' kids. I started thinking about the community. Like, and this is in a point in my life where I'm not even established as anything, a speaker, or nothing. I'm just me. Yeah. And I'm like, I started thinking about them. And then I started thinking about me. So a lot of people go, yeah, I think about me. Like, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to die. I didn't even think about me until the third part of that cycle of, I got to change. Why do you got to change? I got to change because I don't want my kids following this path. Mm-hmm. Oh, shit. I also got to change because I don't want the next generation, following this path. And why else you got to change? I got to change because I want a better life for myself. Mm-hmm. And once that happened, it clicked. I went from being on the streets to working at Price Right with my shirt tucked in, taking people's, ringing them out at their groceries. Right. My friends, best friends laughing at me, not in a harmful but in a, you serious? Yeah, come on now, you serious? That's what you doing now? Yeah, so I had to deal with that, like, yes, this is, and it wasn't that, some people get in that moment and they fall back like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm going right back to I was more like, nah, get up the next morning, I'm going to work. Get up, and I started building that. I think that energy started shifting in me, like, you're on the right path. It's going to be hard, but you're on the right path. And then something came upon me about becoming a tool. I think somebody came to me and he was like, you need to turn yourself into a tool. You need to become a tool. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, explain that to me. He said, when you go out and you apply for a job, you're applying at a business, a corporation, an organization. You're applying. Can I have a job? He said, when you become a tool, they need you. So that's when I enrolled in trade school. And I went to Lincoln Tech in 2009. And this is at a time where I already have 5 felonies. Again, my friends coming back around the corner. You can't. You got felonies. They're not going to. And at that time, yes, that's true. You can't get certain jobs in that field with those felonies. But I was still focused, like I said, I was focused on my kids, the generation, and myself. I'm like, nah, like, this can happen. I just had to believe in me. So I enrolled in electrical school. And I graduated, 2011, I graduated. And they was right. I couldn't get a job. But they was only right for a year. Because I was plugging away. And in 2012, CMAC Electrical, who is in New Britain, they hired me. And they told me, they said, we'll give you an opportunity and a shot, but we just can't allow you in certain, like businesses. Like if you go to hospitals and we can allow you in there because of your record, but we could put you on the field. We could put you on the construction field. And that was my shot. That was my opportunity.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
So in that you mentioned, I graduated and I didn't get a job, but it was only for a year. So many of our listeners hear that and might think, only a year? That is so, how, only a year? That's forever, right? And a change mentality certainly is, well, a year, I'm investing in that time, even though I might not be getting my immediate goal and it might not all be coming to fruition, I'm still laying the foundation, right?
Absolutely.
In real time, did it feel like only a year, or did it feel like that eternity?
I think it was a balance. I think it was up and down because at the same time, I'm looking forward to this job to take care of my family. So, the funds is low, struggling. We need money. So it's like, I need this to hurry up and happen. But at the same time, I think there was times where I still had, I had to get another job, So I'm working at 2 restaurants. I'm at Chili's and I'm at J. Timothy's, washing dishes at one and prepping at the other. Mm-hmm. But I graduated school, I got this diploma, and I'm sending out emails, I'm filling out applications. So I think it wasn't that, it didn't feel like a year, It's just
busy.
Yeah. I was still busy. It wasn't like the only thing I was worried about. I think if you focus on one thing and you start to get caught up in, I need it now, it can feel like 5 years. It can feel like 10 years. But if you have a plan, which mentally I had a plan, if you have a plan, I think that's where you're like, I know I'm going to get to that water bottle, but I got to go here. Then I got to go here. Then I got to go here. So I'm not going to be like, man, I got to hurry up because I already know I'm going to get there because I knew what I was doing was going to get me there because when they told me I couldn't go to school, I went to school. Right. Now, mind you, I didn't even have a GED. I didn't have a high school diploma when I went to that school. But they had a substitute GED that if you pass this test, you can go to school here. After I went, they went away with that program. So anybody else, like I made it like just in time, like 90 to 60 days before they went away with that. So by the time my friends was like, let me try it, they didn't have that no more. You had to go get your actual GED. Wow. So with me, like I said, so I already been through things where it worked. They told me I couldn't, I got it. They said I got it. So now I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get this job. Let me just keep working the mental plan.
Right. And you had those reference points that you created through your past actions.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that is
important.
And I'm so grateful that you brought that up because I know in times in my life that's where I've struggled. Where hey, I have this overarching goal, but it's not coming immediately. Mm-hmm. And instead of saying, oh, screw it, I can't do this, it's using those past experiences, however big or small, to say, wait a minute, I didn't think I could do this, but I did this, right? Let's go slow. And all of a sudden, sometimes working the jobs that aren't my passion became meaningful because I had a greater picture and purpose.
Absolutely.
So I'm real glad that you brought that up.
Yeah. All I keep hearing, though, is faith. Everything you say, like what caused or what strengthened your faith through all that? Because I think one of the main reasons why you got to that water bottle is because your faith was strong. Yeah. So what was the things that you did or do to strengthen your faith?
I think it was crazy as it sounds, it was a mixture of being incarcerated and going through what I've been through in my lifetime. There was a time that my mom was struggling with addiction, and they were threatening her to take us away. Not until we got taken away did she kick her addiction. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Sometimes it takes a whole mountain to fall on you for you to actually break through the mountain. You know what I'm saying?
I look at it like, and I speak just because I'm stubborn and it always comes this way for me. But if I have an idea of what I want to do, I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. Yes. And it's until the pain is great enough and it's very clear that my will alone and the things I'm throwing at this don't work. Like I have to get that beaten down into my head to the point where I truly know, wait a minute, if I continue to do this, it's just going to equal this overwhelming pain. Yeah. Now I'm willing to look for another avenue. Even though that avenue's been there the entire time, I'm not willing to look at it if I think I can do it the way I want to do it. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, stubborn is the word.
That's it.
Yeah. We all got a little bit of that.
Yeah. So that's what it was. And to add on to that, it was the faith to make my mom an example. Her love, it just outweighed everything else. Right. Nothing else could set my kids. Like now reality strike. And I think that's what it was me. It was more like, I have to keep this faith because if it ain't this way, I already know how that way looks. Yeah. I did years of, I already know how that way looked. And I think that's where it just kept me going. Like, I'm not spending a night ever again in there. Now, before I get back to the, to the journey, I want to just rewind a little bit because there's something that happened during that time that's very important for the listeners to know. So failing is, or taking a setback is very important, right? So during that time, right, trying to find a job, right, I probably was like in my, I don't know, close to that year. I call it the slip up, because I fell for a little while. And when I say a little while, probably 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks, job, money, situation, can't find the electrical job. So mentally, something came upon me and said, you got to go back a little bit. So I started dipping and dabbing a little bit for 2 weeks. Now, mind you, I'm home doing great, haven't touched none of that in years. Yeah. But something always brings us back because we're in survival mode. Like, what else are we going to do? You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And in 2 weeks, I said to myself, I woke up one day and I started crying. Like, I'm crying. I'm staying with my mom at this time. I'm crying. I'm like 21 years old. I'm crying. I'm like, why? Why am I doing this? Why? So I called up the dude and I said, listen, you got to take me to such and such. You know what I'm saying? So I went to meet this guy and he's like, what's going on? I said, you need to take this back. You know, I can't sell drugs. You need to take all this back. I'm sorry. I apologize. I took this, but whatever I owe you, I'll pay you weekly throughout my job. This dude has a gun on his lap, right? And he goes, you gonna pay me every dime? Of course I am. And get out my car. Don't ever do nothing like this again. Get out my car. I left, boom, boom. I literally went from how I used to be to being back to who I knew I wanted to be. And I'm gonna tell you, every week I paid this guy $50 every week because I owed him. I knew that. And I completely stopped. I felt like I almost messed up my life because one mistake, it could have threw all that away and I would have been back in the penitentiary after being out of. And this is what happened. My mom kept saying, you not scared every time you go down there and pay him? I said, nah, because I'm comfortable with myself. I know what I am now. I know how powerful I am. Mentally, I am good. After the third week, I go downstairs to pay this guy, and he goes, get in the car. I'm like, he was like, you don't owe me no more money. He said, you give me hope. This is a drug dealer now. He said, the fact that you were able to come to me and tell me that you're done with the streets. Nobody never quit it. Nobody to tell me you're done, here you go, and not be afraid of what I or my friends can do to you because you owe us, and then take your hard-earned working money and pay me weekly, and you got a family and kids, you give me hope. You don't owe me no more money. This guy owns a barbershop right now.
Yeah, that literally brings tears to my eyes.
Bruh.
And the part that is so beautiful there is the level of awareness that takes and you being true to yourself.
Absolutely.
What I mean by that is that morning you woke up and just started crying. So many people shut that shit down, right? Oh, it doesn't matter. I got to keep pushing forward, right? And not paying attention to that true self and that voice saying, hey, the reason I'm crying is because this isn't right. This isn't my purpose. This isn't what I want. But that's so hard to acknowledge. Whether you're stuck in an addiction, whether you're running the streets, whatever it may be, that voice telling you, hey, what I'm doing isn't right. We fight that every day to push that down to keep that going, right? Yeah. But to acknowledge it and listen to it and say, wait a minute, I got to not only make a change, but then take the actions to solidify it. That's about as powerful as anything is ever going to be, man. And I appreciate you bringing that story up.
Absolutely. I thought it was important. It's really important.
It is important.
Yeah, it is. And I save it for platforms like this because it's how often do you talk to someone and just bring up a story like that, you know?
Well, it gives hope. And then to follow it up that this other individual is able to literally change his life and his ways based off of your example.
Absolutely.
And that goes back to where we started this saying, hey, I want to pave the way for the next generation. Sometimes paving the way for the next generation is changing our generation.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
You were able to do that.
Absolutely.
And continue to. So we jump back in. I just wanted to highlight that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was important too, because sometimes people think that, you know, when you're on your journey to success, it's just success. It's just nothing in between.
Yeah.
There's some hard things that go in between.
And there has to be, right?
Yeah.
Because success comes from expanding our comfort zone and pushing the limits, right?
Absolutely.
If I just do the same thing over and over, no longer is it success. The first time it is, but every time after that, I'm just keeping the standard, right?
Yeah.
So if I don't push, it's not going to be success. And with that has to come levels of failure. It has to come levels of pain, because why else would we develop new skills?
Yeah.
Why else would we exceed why would we continue to grow if I could just take the easy route, right? So
Absolutely.
it's a great point. It's never a straight line. It can't be.
Yeah.
Deep.
So getting back to you graduate. No, you're working at this electric company in Britain.
Yep.
And then what that look like after that?
Yeah. So I'm working there, and I just start hustling. You know, I just start learning and being an apprentice. And I come from, you know, my character. I think my character had one of the directors come to me after, like, you know, 6 months, a year, and be like, so we have this house, this mansion that we need to do. Before they told me I couldn't go to certain places, you know, but we want to send you with, you know, one of the foremen, you know, character, just the way you work. We want to send you. So then I started doing that. Then I started doing personal. Next thing you know, I'm in hospitals. I'm in everything so that's more reassurance that, all right, so whatever they're saying in the beginning really doesn't matter as long as I put my best foot forward.
That's a fact.
And that's where I started, you know, dabbing. So when the electrical thing started happening, I met my beautiful wife, you know, a couple years into that field. And I was in the process of writing my first book. And, you know, she was actually the first one that I was able to read it to. You know, it's funny, like, you know, our kids was going to football practice together. And we would sit there and wait for them at football practice. And we would sit in the car, and I would read my manuscript. And we would go back and forth and, you know, building my book. So that was when my first book, A Mother's Pain, was created. Because I would write A Mother's Pain during my electrical break. When I was in the electrical field, people was having lunch breaks. I was having my writing breaks. Because that was the time I was still, like, consciously like, all right, I got to get this. Another thing goes back to what I was saying. I had a mental plan. So being in the field, even though it wasn't my passion, you know, it was a job that took care of my family. My passion was writing, and that's how I wrote that book. So on my break, put it away. When I got home, put it away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's another thing that people need to know. Like, just because you're in a job or in a position that's not your passion, that's not your love, you still could pursue what you love. You just got to find the loopholes in it and still, you know, accomplish what you're trying to accomplish.
The last episode, he literally just said that. Like, having your goal, having your dreams, sometimes you might have to take that job that doesn't align with it. But as long as you stay focused on that, you will get there.
Absolutely.
You just need that springboard sometimes, especially when you're coming home. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you're coming home and you got to work McDonald's, Price Right. I was in Shop Right overnight. Whatever you got to do. Like,
you got to make it happen.
To get to that, you know what I'm saying? That plan. So that's powerful. That's powerful. Yeah.
And then as I wrote that first book, published that first book, 2013. And then after that, it was, you know, what am I doing? Where am I going now? So from the electrical field, I just knew that it was a job, but it wasn't there for me. It wasn't, you know, I always tell people, like, you know, I didn't see me lighting up houses and, you know, for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I flip it and I say, I seen myself lighting up souls, lighting up people, you know, lighting up human beings, like lighting myself. That's how I seen. But this electrical field played a major part in what I'm doing now. Entrepreneurship. You know, we opened up the venue, you know, looking at blueprints, you know, being able to, it plays so much part right now in my life where I look at it, this restaurant, you know, the experience of being on the construction field. And so it's like life will bring you through things where you don't know why you're going through this. And then it'll put you somewhere and you go, if I didn't have all those experiences, I wouldn't be Deivone Tanksley or who I am now. So everything that we do in life plays a major part of who we are, period.
Yeah,
like,
no doubt.
So it's like, and then from there, it's like, all right, what am I gonna do? You know, even this restaurant. You know, this restaurant came about at the time where we had to close one of our other venues because when the pandemic hit, they wasn't allowing no events anymore. So this restaurant came about because not passion, not because I'm a chef, not because number one, I wanted to create a culture environment and an opportunity of what we serve for the community. Like I said, it always I'm never putting myself first. Like it's never like I want a restaurant because I wanted to do that. It's always like, how can I benefit others? You know what I'm saying? How could this establishment benefit others? And that's how this came about. Right. You know, there's no soul food restaurant in New Britain. Right. We built one, you know, black owned, culture food, platform. And it's just creative, like creativity, inspiration. You look around, you know, that's the vision that's in our minds. And that's what we're putting forth. So it goes again to that, you know, that continuous journey, you know, and we're not done yet. You know, I'm not done yet. And just to go back a little bit more from that same journey, you know, after the book, you know, the electrical, you know, the restaurant, now I'm sitting back and I'm like, all right, I still have to continue to be different. I still have to, you know, so I wrote another book and I continued off of A Mother's Pain, and the second book is called Pain, Guilt, and Success. And in both of those books, you know, I reference a lot of my life, a lot of my friends' life, but it's like one of them fiction, nonfiction books where you're trying to merge them together, put a lot of entertainment in there, a lot of good stuff, but a lot of information. And I released those. Went out to Atlanta, did a book signing, and
nice.
came. So it was that book who started taking me different places and opening up different conversations. So I kept looking back, seeing that journey, like, all right, I'm on the right path, you know, of who I want to become. And all of a sudden, something crazy happened, right? I said, what if I run for mayor?
Yeah, this is what I want to get into too. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
You know, so I've done all that, and I'm like, I never got into politics. What if I run for mayor? So I'm looking at the community. I start reading. I look at budgets and how government funding is supposed to be invested in neighborhoods like ours, right. But certain politicians take advantage of it. So I'm like, I gotta even see if I get my foot in there, because if I can get the opportunity to have $100 million budget for my community, oh my God, it's over.
It's game time.
My vision is coming. So I threw my hat in. And some people was like, yeah, but you're not gonna start like at city council? Or I'm like, nah, because that's not my vision. But I get why they saying that, because that's the blueprint.
Yeah.
I'm not following their blueprint. Yeah. I have a vision. I want to do it. This is what I'm going to do. I went to one of my best friends and his wife. I said, you want to be my campaign manager? She said, well, I believe in you. I believe in your vision and goals. So whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. And we threw our hat in. And we shook a lot of trees. You know, we didn't win. But I always tell people we won the hearts of the community. You know, people started thinking different, because I wasn't just getting on platforms saying, vote for me, vote for me, vote for me. I was saying participate. I was saying register to vote. I was saying these are many people who's registered. These are many people who not. This is the percent that these people are winning with. This is the percent we losing. And I started just educating. And after the polls and everything was done and he won again, people were surprised because they thought I won. They like, no, hold on. You were out here. Like, how did you not win? And I just always just think at that time, it just wasn't ready. Yeah. And it wasn't time. And also, in my heart, I feel like I wasn't created to be tamed to that environment and that office, but I was meant to do something, spark something, and step back. So now I work with politicians, but I'm an entrepreneur. I need to think myself. I'm not politically correct. I'm not. That's not me. Yeah, you know. Yeah. So I'm glad that a young kid to come from where I come from was able to get his name on the ballot and run for office. Period.
Well, that's when you came onto my radar when I seen that, and then I said, when I seen it was like your story was attached to it. Mm-hmm. So someone like yourself with your story, where you come from, what you represent, to go for mayor, and to actually be a contender, not just I'm going for mayor and 3 people. Nah, you was out word is born. You was out here shaking it. It was like,
and as an independent, which is very important. I didn't know, not Democrat, Republican. I wanted to run independent to let people know that it's not about parties. It's about bridging the gap and coming together. And that was my message. You know, I had a meeting with the Republicans. They wanted me to run under their ticket. I had a meeting with the Democrats. They wanted me to run under their ticket. And I'm like, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. And we did it.
Yeah,
you know,
I recently just changed to independent myself.
Nice.
Yeah, I recently just did that. Like,
it's
last
okay
election.
to work with everybody, but
that's how I look at it.
Yeah, but
you get a little good for here, a little good for that, and the separation is systematic. You know what I'm saying? So,
absolutely. So that was a big kickoff for me. You know, opened a lot of hearts. You know, done a lot of things, and then I took a step back. So now I'm at this space in my life where I'm like, all right, what's the next thing? You know, where can I go with this? And that's when these 5 felonies is just over my head. And I'm like, I want to get rid of these. So me and my wife started applying, you know, sent an application, boom, denied. And I'm like, all right, this is that thing again. This is that denied thing again.
Yes, sir.
5 felonies, denied, wait another year. All right, let's keep accomplishing stuff. Bang, we open up a youth program. Right now we run a youth program called the Legacy Foundation, and over there at St. Matthew's we occupy their gym. So I did all these things with the kids, community, and the next year sent it to them again. Bang, denied. Sent them the information for the mayor. Year 3, denied. I'm like, they not budget for nothing, you know. So our 4th submission, 4 years later, we get an invite to court to present my case. I get up there and I start talking. After 30 seconds, he cut me off. He said, listen, we're live on TV and I'm not trying to give you free publicity. You're approved. I got approved. Done.
Wow.
That's how it happened.
Wow.
And the judge started laughing. He said, listen, because I'm like, listen, you know, from year 1, I did this, I did that.
Yeah, you got to break it down.
I wrote a book, I got a restaurant, I ran for mayor. Ho. We live on TV. We don't want to give free publicity. We read everything, but congratulations, you're approved. And I walked out approved. I have no more record. And I didn't even need it. I didn't need it because I own my own business now. I accomplished. I ran for mayor with felonies. You can run for mayor with felonies. I'm letting you know, you can run for mayor with felonies. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you did.
So I didn't need the expungement, but I got the full expungement. I got it because I wanted it for me, you know, for proof for others as well, to let you know that I don't care what you go through in life, how hard it is. You can clear your record. You can own a business. You could write a book. You could create a program and put it in the prison system. My youth program is in MYI right now.
Wow.
We work with the kids. We play basketball and mentor the kids in MYI. I was in MYI.
I already.
For 2 years, I was there. Then I went back to speak to the kids and created a program to help develop these kids in the prison system, working with the warden, working with the prison commissioner. Like, it can happen. Like, I come from Mount Pleasant Project. I come from a neighborhood where, you know what I'm saying?
You know, I know already. You know, I know.
It's deep.
Then there's so many things that have come up that I mean this when I say it, that I absolutely love about you. And that is so incredibly inspiring. And one of them is just this skill of resilience that you built up over time and time again. And when you set a goal, you don't settle. Mm-hmm. So the idea being, however long it takes, whether it's 3 years, whether it's 5 years, you see it through to the end. Mm-hmm. And as a result, you've accomplished so many incredible things.
Yes.
And that is incredibly admirable, right? Mm-hmm. How many people after that second denial would be like, I own my own business. Why am I going to continue to put this obstacle in my way to try to blow through when I don't even need it, right? But that's what inspires me to continue to push. Hearing stories like you and others who aren't just settling for what the societal standards are or what the easy path is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That mindset is incredible, and something that in hearing it, I think I kind of understand. Like, That probably wasn't a day one mindset. That was built up over time and experience and realizing, wait a minute, when I kick down and I get back up, the next time I push, I move a little further.
It works.
And then a little further. But it takes that time to truly know that it works. And the only way you know it works is to fail and then succeed.
Yep.
So
failure is the partner of success.
That's it.
You need it. I know someone, one of my mentors told me, he said, fail fast so you can learn quick. So that's why sometimes, like, I always, like, if I have an idea and I want to do something, like, ask my wife, like, sometimes I shoot from the waist real fast because I just know, like, it's either going to work or it's not. But there's no right and there's no wrong. It just happened. They're either going to remember it for a week or forget about it in a day. You're like, it's whether you fell on your face when you was crossing the street, or walking across the stage, or you walked across the stage nicely. Something's going to happen. Find out what it is so you can get to the next point fast.
I love
Ain't no waste of time.
I love that mentality and how I look at truly everything in life. There is never a right and a wrong, but there's a better. And so many times finding that better comes from finding something slightly worse.
Absolutely.
And saying, hey, this doesn't work, let me find another way. And if I can continue to develop choices in my life, I'm going to continue to get better choices.
Absolutely.
And better choices is going to be better quality of life, right?
Absolutely.
That's the journey, but it doesn't, those things don't just often land in your lap, right? They're sought.
No. And some people could think like they're far off. Like, they could be like, oh, but look at D, like he's there. Like, I want to, people like, Jay-Z mentioned this, and he said, people look at the end result and try to imitate that. They look at me and, I'm trying to imitate that, but they don't know what happened 20 years ago. That led up to that. And once we all realize that, like I'm no different than you, you're no different than me. I just occupy a space right now. You get what I'm saying? I just occupy a space that I've built up. But there's really no levels. There's really no levels. The levels come based off of experience. Because there's levels in your life or levels in your life that you can touch another kid and he can think you're the most powerfulest thing in the world because there's levels to it, different perspectives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I always tell people, don't look at how far another person is. And I learned that even now, like I used to struggle. I'm just getting better. Like, and it's crazy because some people say like, nah, you good. Like, nah, I'm just getting better with really trying my best to succeed, to wake up earlier, to work harder, to be a little bit more organized, I'm still working towards that.
That's me.
Because I see I can get better. And if you get caught up on social media and start looking at these people who you think is better than you, and they're probably not. You think they have more money than you. You think they're more successful than you. You'll get caught up in thinking you have to hurry up and get there, and you'll lose the fact that you need to do your work so you can establish who you are. And I think that's where I'm at now. I'm in a space in my life consciously, energetic-wise, knowing that life comes from within out and not from out in. So basically, we occupy an energy. The human nervous system occupies an energy that when you work within and believe in who you are, you turn into a magnet. If you're looking for outside gratification, it doesn't really work. You're putting on that hat because you want your friend to say, yo, that's a nice hat, as opposed to putting on that hat because you feel good about yourself. And when you put on that hat and feel good about yourself, it releases a certain energy to other people, and you ain't even got to say, look at my hat. They come and they say, you got a nice hat.
Right.
Yeah, it becomes...
you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, law of attraction. Bro.
And something self-help groups have taught me really clear. There's a couple things. One, don't compare, relate, right? Because comparing does nothing, but if I relate, I'm going to learn something, right? And then it's not about promotion. It's about attraction. And that is exactly what that is, right? If I am my genuine self, there is going to be people who are going to genuinely want what I have and are going to be attracted to me. And then there's going to be people that don't. And that's okay. That's okay, right? Yeah. Like, I hope it's that way because there's over 7 billion people on this planet. And if we all loved each other, we wouldn't grow.
Yeah,
right?
At all.
Like, we need that opposing energy. We need that competition. We need those types of things. But I really like that message of be true to yourself, because then you will, whether you want to call it attraction or probability, right? We talk about karma regularly, and I'm a believer, whether I believe in the literal sense of karma or not. My idea is, hey, if I do good things, that doesn't mean good things are going to come back to me.
Yep.
But if I do good things, that means I'm probably hanging around good people. I'm probably trying to do the right thing. And the probability of good things happening when I'm around good situations increases. And the same is true for the opposite. If I'm doing shitty things, the probability of me getting in trouble or getting caught up increases, right? So that is how I like to look at those concepts.
And that's important. That's important what you said, because you want to make sure that you're not just doing things to get something back.
Right.
And I gave him that because I want that. And I gave him that. It messes up the energy.
It's not genuine. You have an ulterior motive, and that always comes out.
Well,
always
and
comes out.
You're still a magnet, but now you're attracted to fake shit.
The wrong stuff.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're still a magnet.
You're still a magnet.
And that's the thing. Like, quick fixes, they are temporary, right? Because there's no. You talked about what Jay-Z talked about with outcomes, right?
Yeah.
Outcomes are cool, but they're nothing without a process, right? Because if I build a house and I don't have a foundation, this shit's gonna crumble. Right? So that process is so very important. And I know when I look back at the things that I've overcome or accomplished in my life, sure, when the initial accomplishment of that outcome, it felt really, really good, right? But when I reflect back on it a year, 5 years later, I don't think about the feeling of when I finished. I think about all of the little things, the hard things I did to get there. That is what my mind goes back to, right? That is what I romanticize. So it's not about the outcomes. It's about everything that led up to it.
It's about the journey.
That's right.
About the journey.
And I know it sounds cliche, and in the moment, right, like I'm going through it now, in the moment, like sometimes it's miserable and I don't feel like fighting. I don't feel like showing up. But I can reflect back on those past experiences and say, hey, this feeling like shit today is going to be one of the greatest feelings reflecting back on later.
Absolutely. It's not so. Our bodies are created to just help us survive. It's not created to feel good.
Right.
So when you're doing things and you're not feeling good, just know that 9 times out of 10 you're on the right path. You know, you're uncomfortable. Your stomach hurt. I'm scared of that. But your body is created to. I got you. You're not used to that. You know, so as an artist, as an entrepreneur, as a person who want to explore the world and become great, you're going to have to, what they say, you're going to have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That's right.
Period.
That's right.
You know, starting this podcast, you know what I'm saying? Like, how many people are going to be like, no, don't you doing that? What y'all doing over there? You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people, and it's like, all right. But then you got people that you're attracting is letting you in other doors. You know, I always tell people, like, every action matters. Like, our restaurant has allowed us to get calls from people that I tried to get calls when I was just a regular person. Like, I want to get. Now it's like Bradley Airport, ESPN. It's you just gotta focus on the work. Just focus on the vision. Like you said, the journey. Because at the end of the day, even the end goal, once you, what they say, the excitement comes from you wanting that thing you want. And then it releases the dopamine. It releases that. But then once you get the thing, you're happy, and then you're on to the next. But it's like Christmas. You right? The kids, they're excited. But once they open the present, they're not playing with the toys no more. But for 30 days, they're just excited. Why? Because we are wired to be excited for things that we know we're going to get, but we don't have it yet. And once we get it, we're like, all right, now you're on to the next one. So what happens is you miss every day of the process, the journey, the excitement, the learning. You miss all that if you're not consciously aware and awoke to that. So I tell people, be awoke to the journey and chase the dream, not the money.
And just to touch on what you just mentioned with the dopamine and things like that, a lot of people, we think that dopamine is primarily triggered when we accomplish or we do something, but it's actually that act of striving for it, right? So and that is what actually releases it, right? So when you look at someone who's wrapped up in addiction, right, it's not necessarily the use of the drug that releases the dopamine, right? It is the searching for it. It's that whole process, right?
Yes.
So dopamine is often it's a neurotransmitter that's released from the act of striving. Not necessarily like we open the presents. that's not when it's coming, right?
Yeah,
so
it's important. That's important,
right?
And I literally, like I said, as I continue to grow as a person, I start to learn things like that. Like I just came across that probably like a year ago. Even though probably unconsciously I've been doing it throughout my life, but a year ago I run into this book and I'm like, oh, that's what it is. So now I'm able to speed up my process or be consciously aware of what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. So, everything is a learning process. I just want to continue to grow, as a person, because what's the point of growing if you can't give? I think that's why everybody want to grow. I think you guys want to build this platform only so you could give back.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
It's not always just for you. All right, how are you giving back though? You are allowing people like myself to put out valuable information to a kid once they get on the internet, it's in there forever. 5, 10, 50 years from now, a kid bumps into it and changes his whole life. That's what we do this for.
That's exactly
what I'm saying? That's important.
Yeah, and I was really taught in my young adult life that in order to keep something, you have to give it away, right? If it's used selfishly, for me, when I use things selfishly, I burn my life to the ground. That is just the way it is. When I use things selflessly, I feel really good, and I'm just a part of the journey. And Carl mentions it all the time. It's like being a sponge, right? Like at a certain point, you acquire so much information that you're not really doing it. If you don't use it, it's just sitting there uselessly, and now the sponge is useless, right? When you actually wring it out and apply the information, now you can absorb more, and you can enter that next level.
Deep. Deep.
Super deep.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So I told you I was excited for this.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
I already know.
So what's next?
To be honest with you, some big things. Some I'm not going to mention.
Yeah, sure.
But working with expanding my presence outside of just New Britain. So I'm going to be working on some things in Hartford. Okay. I'm going to be working on some things in New Haven, some things in Waterbury, all the communities that I know need services and need energy upliftment of just positivity. I'm gonna start working with these people to try to bring programs. So recently, my wife didn't cook. The restaurant we in right now. Like 2 days ago, we just launched economic development fund. And what it is if you go to the website, you can read a little bit about it. But I decided during these hard times, this pandemic and everything that we're going through with our kids and our youth, I decided to create this fund where anyone can donate and be a part of the next vision or the next opportunity that we are going to build, my staff and my people that we're going to build. So whether it's a literacy program, whether it's financial literacy, whether it's a youth program, adult program, reading, math, and whether it's a business, whatever it is, we're going to take the funds that we're raising and we're going to invest in the community. So right now we already got 2 projects in the works. And people can go to the website and you could just donate. You could donate $1 and you could donate 1,000, whatever you have, and you'll just be a part of this new movement that we decided to create. So that's very, very important to me because we donate a lot of food, we give away a lot, but that's food. And I'm saying to myself, people come all over. People come from New Haven, Hartford, like they support us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can I take their dollar and let them know that their dollar is actually going to a bigger cause?
Right.
And that's when I launched that economic development fund. And that's another form of growth because, of course, I'm going to get pushback. Of course, some people's not going to donate. Of course, they're going to be like, what is he doing down there? Of course, but I'm okay with that because I know that being different attracts different. So I'm going to just continue to be different. What else restaurant is throwing out economic funds saying, listen, every dollar you spend or whatever you put in, we're going to build another business. It don't got to be another restaurant. We can raise 50 grand, 60 grand, and I'll open up a roller skating ring. You know, we can raise $100,000. I open up, you know, a movie theater. I don't care what it is, but I know that if I can continue to build this business and build that fund, you're going to see more things come out of My Wife Didn't Cook organization, DMTS Network. That's my other music business, you know. The Legacy Foundation. We have a big project right now. We have a big project that we're working on that can probably just put New Britain on the map when it comes to like sports and entertainment. Like we're working on something big right now with a couple people. So and another thing too. Let me not forget this. Whew, I almost forgot one of the most important things.
Come on now.
So my program, the Legacy Foundation, just partnered with We Believe Academy out of Waterbury. Taquan Zimmerman, shout out to him. He played professional basketball, G League overseas, and he started a academy school. Then he ran into us, and we have the classrooms in the school, so we partnered up, and we're launching our first academy school. Like we're actually about to start educating these kids and developing them, building them, putting them in front of D1 colleges and D2 colleges. And we're sponsored by Powerade, and he's sponsored by Fashion Nova. So it's like, I don't know how I was about to forget that. Like, you know, so this season, we already had our first season when he did it without the facility. Right now, the facility is being remodeled and painted, and the gym floor is being designed, and logos and everything is coming new. So we're going to have a grand opening for that, a ribbon cutting for that soon. But yeah, I'm excited because I just feel like a school, like it's starting with our 12 kids, but it's going to grow.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to do the girls pretty soon. We're going to have more kids. But for me to own my own school, from a program to a school, is one of the biggest compliments that I'm more excited about than anything else.
Yeah, bro. That's when we get off of the it don't matter if we rolling. You know, we got our nonprofit. We got to definitely sit down.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously today we ain't gonna have the time, but you know, because we got a lot of stuff going on in New Haven, man, and just
nice. I like that.
Just to go full circle, how I started this conversation at the table. When I didn't think I was gonna be even more inspired.
Yes.
And I'm already even more. But man, it's hard for me to even get it in words like this.
I'll put it in words. Right.
Thank you.
There are shapers and movers in this world, right? Individuals who are visionaries, who see the bigger picture, and then individuals who can actually take the action and make that bigger picture come to life. There are very few who do both, and you are one of those very few.
Appreciate that.
The vision and the work ethic to make that vision come to life. It's something that people can't do. It's very, very challenging. And it, like Kevin said, that is inspiring. And that I know Kevin has this little thing going off, and I'm like, man, I got to work harder.
Yes.
What am I'm slacking, right? Because the reason I know he has that is that's been going off in my head this whole time. So I can't thank you enough for inviting us up here and taking the time to share your story and truly inspire the next generation and this generation.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Because that's what this is all about.
And a generation before. The old heads need it too.
It's special, man. So thank you. Thank everybody for listening. I think that's a good spot to wrap up.
Thank you guys, man. Really appreciate it.
Likewise.
Really appreciate it. It's beautiful.
Follow Up Podcast.
And thank you. I just want to say personally, thank you to New Haven, because New Haven drives out here like regularly to support My Wife Didn't Cook restaurant. And I want to say thank you, to have someone drive 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 2-3 times a week to come out here and support this business. It shows us we're doing something right. And I thank them a lot, So we'll be doing some work in New Haven pretty soon. They actually want us to put one of these up there. So you just never know what can happen, but we'll talk.
Oh yeah, we definitely gonna build.
Talk.
Absolutely.
We'll talk.
Absolutely.
Nice.
All right.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Follow Up Podcast.